It's early morning at Carmel, California, along the central coastline. There's a blend of environment showing itself in the hills and greenery in early springtime. But there's also a culture. It's shown by the mission church itself that's been here, at least in some principal way, since 1771. It's here at Carmel, where the two work together perfectly: environment and culture, trees, grass, but also buildings that are a mission, school, workplace, living place, where human beings worship and they live. Beautiful combination. It is something that we'll talk about in the coming weeks. We are now coming to Carmel itself, and we have to see it as part of California. The Californian missions, 21 of them established by the Franciscans in the 18th century, in order to bring the culture of Europe to America, but really it exchange, because a lot of the culture of the Native Americans went the other way too. And so we see this Carmel situated there in a very idyllic place where water and land came together. Land was very important for the missions. In fact, each mission was to be 1 day's walk from one to the next on the El Camino Real, a highway that helped furnish and be the trade that was used in Upper California. But also, land is connected with water, for both the ocean was very close, and the river than which uh, the Carmel mission was set was very near, and therefore water and land, which is always a part of environment, of a perfect environment, was very naturally connected here in this part of Central California. We will see the mission itself. It was really planted with a cross. Cross is now available to be seen from a distance in 1771. The mission was for various tribes, not just for a single one of the Native Americans living in that area, some of which were natural enemies to each other, and that made this a challenge to a great degree to bring them together. It is a mission that was planted with a cross, but it also included the practicality that goes along with being a good environment. As we approach the mission building itself, we see that there is a cemetery there that includes some of the Native Americans and some of the early Franciscans who helped establish the mission. And this shows that there was a connection between those who were worshiping and those who had passed on. We will look at the agriculture that's connected to the mission. And in fact, in the very early days of its establishment, they almost starved to death because they were bringing food in from Mexico, and it wasn't available at that time. But eventually, they began to be people who were working together, and up to 4,000 bushels a year of grain could be produced there for populations that ranged upward to almost 1,000 people. But anyway, they also had horses and cattle in large numbers, in the thousands, and also sheep, as we can see from the picture here of some of the materials that were used. That is a cart that was actually used in the agricultural work that was occurring. Junipero Serra, who is now a saint, was also the founder of this mission, and along with his companions, they lived a very simple lifestyle, as is seen in a cell that is pictured here. It is really one of the places where we see very carefully that it was not extravagant. In fact, it was removed in many ways from the Presidio itself, where the military was established, because they did not want the lifestyle of that military operation to be influencing the people to a great degree. The culture is really seen both in the plazas that are surrounding or within the complex itself, and also we can see it in a very particular way in the library, which is really the first library of California that is preserved here among the 4 or 5 museums that are present as part of the complex. We always celebrate light and darkness in an environment. Sometimes the light shows itself in a very special way. At summer solstice, it is actually shown here because the light comes in that window, that is the front window of the mirror of the mission, and actually shines upon the central part of the altar itself. We understand this as being part of the design of the place. And really, we could say that the Native Americans had a lot to do with this because they loved light and darkness too. And therefore, they were the ones that helped build this mission. And this is where there is an exchange of culture, where that of the people themselves and what they respect is shown and celebrated in a very special way in this mission. The flowers of spring in California are really something to celebrate. And we see this in the photos that we have, both of the plazas and this open space around the mission. A love for the flowers and for the color that they all bring. And we finally say that not only all the sights are important, but also the sounds of the ocean, very close to the mission itself. And the sounds of birds and other things can be heard, especially in springtime, but the ocean is there all year round. And it is a celebration that those people knew as really a part of the very environment in which they live. We've looked at every aspect of the mission, its territory around it, the actual cultivation of land and pastures in the area. We looked at the history that's connected, the color, the light, the sounds. All of these are part of what makes this a good example of where culture and environment fit together. Come and see the place. It deserves a lot more time than what this little video tells you, but it is an invitation. This is Al Fritz from earthhealing.info. Come and visit us sometime.